Right, quickly to the World Economic Forum we go. It's the 50th edition of this in Davos, Switzerland. Liabo Setho is there covering it for us. Great guest she's got with her, Nigerian Stock Exchange CEO. Liabo, good morning to you.
Good morning, Leanne. Yes, the Africa story remains still a very important one. In fact, when the IMF released its growth outlook, economic growth outlook, what it did say about Nigeria, that it expects a flat economic growth in 2020 and in 2021 of 2.5%. And I have the CEO of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, Mr. Oscar Onyema, who's going to give us a view of how Nigerian economy is doing and what they have brought to the World Economic Forum. Mr. Onyema, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
The IMF is quite muted when it comes to growth in Nigeria, 2.5%. It does not expect it to go any further. How are things happening in Nigeria? How's the economy coming along?
First of all, let me say that these are all estimates. So if you look at the World Bank numbers, it's 2.9. The truth is, it's going to be somewhere in that region. 2.5, 2.9, I think we can do a lot more. We need to be growing at least faster than the rate of growth of the population, which is at about 3% right now. But there's a lot of work that is already going on to reposition the country for growth. Be it from the policymakers, the regulators, and even the operators in the market and indeed in the economy. We've seen growth, earlier this year with oil prices spiking above $70 a barrel. The stock market is 10% up this year as a result of a combination of things, including oil prices. But more importantly, the central bank's open market operations new policy that excludes domestic investors from participating in that market other than the deposit money banks and foreign investors. As you know, that is the way it's supposed to be anyway. So that means that there's a lot of free capital, if you will, that will flow into the real economy, that will flow into the equities markets and into infrastructure and into other things. So all of these things, coupled with the early adoption of the appropriation bill and the new finance bill that is designed to raise more revenue for the government and help to accelerate the deployment of capital. All of those things should help in driving growth in 2020.
Thank you so much for giving us an update. I'm afraid we don't have much time, but thank you. I hope that all these things that you've listed are enough to encourage investment, more investment into the Nigerian economy. Thank you so much, Mr. Onyema. Leanne, that is Mr. Oscar Onyema. He's the CEO of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, giving us an overview of the Nigerian economy and also what the IMF had said about their growth projections, which are a bit lower than that of the World Bank. And with that, I'll hand over back to you in studio.